Hello, everyone, and welcome to my weekly Meltdowns coverage of Survivor 44, the finale recap. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just
Am
fine,
I
Allison.
in the microphone?
You sound so professional. We are only the most professional here at my weekly meltdown. So all of our amazing thousands, hundreds of thousands of fans,
Let's
they
not get
really
crazy.
admire our professionalism here.
Yes,
Um,
they do, don't they?
but wow, okay, so we have a lot to talk about here. But of course, at the top of the house, well, of course, like congrats to Jam Jam, like whatever. But the real winner here tonight is you, Allison,
Oh,
for not only picking the draft winner for 2 seasons in a damn row, but you picked the Jam Jam the first pick off of the entire board, off of the entire cast. So I wanted to give you your roses at the top of the house here. Congrats on winning once again. And tell me, like, what was it about Jam Jam that like stuck out to you immediately?
I picked Jam Jam 5.5 months ago during the Survivor 43 finale when they showed the coming up on season 44 of Survivor. And they show Jam Jam talking about, bring it, I'm going to poop in the ocean. And that's what it had me a poop in the ocean. I don't know. I'm good with people. I can read, I can't, as soon as I can read a room, I can't read a room. But I mean, I'm just, I hate him. I'm just saying that I saw him and I just interlocked in on him. And I was like, man, I like this guy. I'm just going to pick him. I don't care if he wins or not. But I mean, I really liked it. And a lot of what he said during the tribal council and a lot of his actions as a human being, I think, is what led to his winning of Survivor 44 because you help friends. I mean, like him helping Carson make fire. He's like, that's what you do. You help friends who are in trouble. And that really got to me. I really enjoyed seeing that and him talking about how I can see a twinkle in your eye when you're talking about your friends and your family and things that mean the most to you. And then when you're lying to me, hi, Tim, that twinkle goes away. And it's very true because I can kind of tell sometimes when people are lying to me or giving me the mess around, fooling around with me. It's not the
I
same
can
as
see the
the
twinkle leave your eye whenever I start talking a lot of strategy. So I know what I know what he means by that. But no, I was glad to see him like really harp on like picking up on body language and being intuitive because like I feel like I talk on this show all the time about how just like how telling people are, not with words, but like with their body language. So I was
Mhm.
glad that he kind of used that to his advantage. And he wasn't afraid to like call out some of the jurors either by saying, like, listen, like I tried to make connections with you, Danny, and you, Jamie, and you, Brandon, and like y'all were just not giving it to me. So I had to rely on body language. Yes, the she
The whole and even who was it he said? Even Kane right now.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he said that and then he was like, so I had to like really pick up on like nonverbal cues that you didn't even realize you were giving me, but you gave me so much information and I knew that I couldn't trust you and like of course I was right because I was able to make the moves on you before you were able to make them on me. So yeah, very very impressive final tribal council from Jam Jam overall. Um I don't know.
I
Do you have
thought
any? Go ahead.
I thought Carolyn had a great tribal council. I thought she was very open and honest with her answers. I was very surprised to see she didn't get any votes at
Yeah.
all. I think she did more than Heidi did. Yeah, Heidi made fire the quickest ever in history. Good for her. The congratulations. And it was a ballsy move. It always is commendable when you step
Yeah.
in and make fire. I think that's great. But other than that, I had to keep reminding myself that she was on the show.
Hmm.
I think that Carolyn deserved at least a vote or something. Not, it is what it is, but I mean, just I was very shocked that she didn't get anything.
Yeah. I did enjoy her tribal performance. You know, she defends her idol play like for Carson, which I'm glad that she did because I didn't want the jury to kind of paint that as like a misplay or something like she shouldn't have done, because she had like all the information she had at the moment, and she knew that like her path forward was like protecting her people, protecting her numbers. So I always say like better to use your idol a little hastily rather than like walk home with it in your pocket. You know what I mean? And then yeah, like I of course like we. Yeah, I don't know. Like I get why people voted Jam Jam over Carolyn, but I totally agreed that like I think that she deserved at least a vote, and certainly like one over Heidi. I mean, she even gave Danny like props that like, listen, I know you and I were not on the same page like this entire season, but I recognize that you were a big threat in this game and you had to go. So that's why I targeted you, and that's why you left when you did. I kind of wish that Danny had like given her like the vote out of respect there, but I feel like that's a tall order for for him, and whatever the hell that he was wearing, that little like tapestry.
What is it with him and ponchos? I mean, really, it looked like a poncho get up to me. I mean, Danny's just a mystery to me. I don't know. I don't. It just all of it. This is what I'm getting. You know, he wouldn't have voted to if Jam Jam and Carolyn were on fire. He wouldn't have voted to. He wouldn't have been the one lone vote to put them out with water. He still wouldn't have voted for them. I don't think it mattered who was sitting next to Jam Jam and Carolyn. Danny was not voting for them.
Yeah,
right. At all. Like he just the way he carried his demeanor, and yeah, you look like Robert De Niro, whatever. It just didn't seem like he was happy with this final three. Well, because who would be happy with the final three they're not in? I get it.
Right.
But it just didn't make any sense to me.
Also, like you know how like of course like Heidi, like she was like she recognized that like she needed a bigger resume heading into this final three. So of course like we see her like throw herself into fire making and stuff, and she did the damn thing. Like she took out Carson, the first woman that's ever beaten a man in a fire making challenge. But yeah, go ahead.
Was Carson really a challenge, though? I was in it for her until she said she was going to go against Carson. I was like, no. You want a real challenge? Then get Carolyn in there. Go against Jam Jam. If you really want to get to the twigs and berries of the whole thing, no. Why pick the weakest link? That, to me, is when the bottom completely fell out of the... I mean, I respect her. I think it's great. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, dude, she's going to pick... She's picking Carson. I just thought that was weak. But and I can already hear now, but she wanted to win. How's she getting it? Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. All of you can eat a fat one. That was not challenging at all.
Right. Like, and I feel like it answers the question of like, you know how like for Survivor 40, right? Like people would have said like the jury loves to say like, oh, well, Natalie, if you threw yourself in fire against Tony, like we would have voted for you. Or even last season, like if Cassidy would have like thrown herself in fire against like Gabler or whatever, like we would have given her the vote because she like made the move. I call bullshit on that. Like I feel like the jurors are always gonna like make an excuse for like whatever reason they want to vote the way that they do, and hold people accountable for players that they don't vote for, right? But we saw it here. We saw Heidi do the damn thing. She put herself into fire making, and it still wasn't enough. And so I feel like jurors just need to stop having this like revisionist history after and being like, well, I was really close to voting for them, but like if only they put themselves into fire making, as if like winning like a 3-minute fire making challenge is like more impressive or a bigger like gameplay move than like 26 days worth of strategy and social connections and stuff like that. Like it makes no sense to me. So
Tyler, there's gonna be that one person that watches this show after we're done and writes us a pamphlet about Heidi. Hi, how are you? You're probably gonna stop watching now. So go ahead and write your paragraph that we're gonna dissect.
Right. And I want to be clear, like, I think Heidi was an incredible player. Like overall, like this final three was a very, very strong final three. And I feel like I specifically have been singing Heidi's praises, like on our coverage, like the entire season. Shit, I would have,
but
I would have considered voting for her, but like the Tika 3 just absolutely dominated this season from start to finish. And I it's in my opinion, like they're probably the best trio that's ever played Survivor history. The
Okay.
only other one I can like really compare it to is like Steven, JT, and Taj in Survivor Tocantins. But I think that like this was an even more impressive gameplay from the three of them collectively. And I have a lot of thoughts about why, but like the first like big one I want to throw out there, Allison, is like I think that them going as far as they did and Jam Jam winning the season is a very good, healthy thing for the future of Survivor. And what I mean by that is we saw this group of three go from like a really small minority in the merge compared to like the orange and green tribes. And we saw them without any like crazy, silly modern Survivor advantages that are thrown in there like 24/7, right? We saw them with their social and strategic game only get them from this like bottom of the barrel positioning to 2 out of the 3 of the finalists being the Tika 3 members. And the only reason Carson wasn't there is because of the stupid fire making twist, right? So I hope that Jeff's takeaway from this season is you can still have an incredible season without all these crazy twists, advantages, and stuff like that. The idols didn't really play a big part of the season at all, and it was still a very entertaining season. And you don't need all of this shit to produce a great season, to produce great gameplay, and to produce like really interesting tribal dynamics. And it's not even like any of the Tika 3 went on this like huge like immunity winning spree, and that's what got them along is like to the end as well. Franny was a huge challenge threat. Danny won as well. I think Lauren won like 2 immunities. So it wasn't as if like they just like won out to the end either. Like they were very strategic about like being a solid 3, but still like reaching out to everybody around them and just cross-sharing like all this information with each other and just making sure the orange and green tribes were like against each other rather than like uniting against Tika until it was like too late, and leaving behind the people, Lauren and Jamie in particular, who really couldn't do anything about it. So that's like my overall thoughts on what the Tika 3 like means for the Survivor pantheon and like the future of this of the game and stuff like that. But it's just like their connection felt very like old school Survivor to me.
It did to me too.
And I randomly started watching like Survivor Amazon again on Paramount Plus's like live like Survivor channel that they have. And I was like, man, like this season is so good because it's just like all about like characters. Like it feels like episodes of like the real world, if that makes any sense. Like the things that like they're sharing at camp and stuff like that. Wasn't strategy heavy. And I feel like that's the type of stuff we got from the Tika 3. And also 3 very underrepresented like players in terms of like this like large like gay Puerto Rican man won the season. We had this like crazy kooky mom who's usually like the first or second boot of like any Survivor season. And then Carson, who's this like really young kid who, you know, usually the young kids that they cast on the show are more like surfer kind of like dum-dums, if that makes any sense. But like Carson is freaking training to be in NASA someday. And he was like 3D printing puzzles. Like we saw 3 very different players that don't really make it too far typically.
They're the underdog.
Make it to the end. Yes.
I feel like the underdog finally had its day. Usually the people that are, you know, kind of looked down upon, not taken seriously, picked on and thrown away and used most of the time for votes until they're not needed anymore. They're thrown out like trash. I feel like it was their day and their time, and I'm here for it. I couldn't be more proud of them. You know, I think that the Tika 3 just are very good examples of how to play the game. I mean, one of the reasons that Jam Jam is such a unique player is he just melted into every person. Like he even said, you know, everybody was writing my name down in the beginning, oh, because you love me, of course, or because I'm so good looking. I mean, just he knows how to work people. And I wouldn't even consider it working people, because when you say that, it sounds like manipulating and doing all this crap. I think he was just himself. And Carolyn was herself. And Carson was herself. And even Carolyn making me cry again during the show, talking about, the goofy kid who talked too much. Girl, hello, right here, got in trouble all the time for talking and being weird. And people always telling me that I was different and all that. And you know what? I'm like, the biggest thing I could ever tell kids is be weird, be different, be crazy as you want to be, because that's what makes you unique. And that's what sets you aside from everyone else. And that's what makes you memorable. I can't remember half the people I went to school. None of them. They're so boring. Seriously, the ones that thought they were the hottest shit are the most boring. We've had some boring ass Survivor winners. I couldn't even name them, but I will always remember Jam Jam, always, because he was unique. I will always remember Carolyn because she was unique, and Carson as well. And I think that hopefully this opens the door for people. Just be yourself and play a different kind of game. And Jeff did say something that was kind of, all these people sitting at home on the couch critiquing and yak yak. It's true. I've said it, been covering Big Brother. You never know what you're going to do or how you're going to play until you get on the island or in the house. I'll say that till I'm blue in the face. I don't know what it's like. I have no idea. I'm just critiquing and giving my 2 cents, but I'm not judging people and saying, "Oh, you shouldn't." I would never do that. Okay, I would never do that. I mean, I may say, "Well, if it had been me, sure, this is hypothetically what I would have done."
Yeah.
But I'm just saying. I just thought that it was a nice break, a breath of fresh air. I thought it was one of the friendliest tribal councils I've ever seen. Yeah, that's
but
what
not
I
in
think.
not in like a passive way, right? Like of course,
Yeah.
like we still saw moments where Jam Jam just like straight up interrupted Heidi or Carolyn
Well,
if they
Heidi
tried.
interrupted him first.
Yes.
Started nothing.
Yeah. But like he wasn't like, I don't want to mistake like friendliness with passiveness, because I don't think that he played like a passive final jury performance at all.
Right.
Like he like said some shit that like was true, but like kind
Yeah.
of like digs at Heidi and Carolyn, but then like 5 seconds later, like making like a joke with them and like bumping shoulders. Like
That's how it's
that's
done.
kind of like, yeah, that is how you win Survivor, is like influencing, but still like making people feel good about it, if that makes any sense.
It's like telling someone to go to hell in a way that they are so excited they ask you for a map.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
They look forward to the trip.
Yep. And I also just like, we've like talked about Carolyn a little bit, but like I just want to give her props as like one of the, in my opinion, the best casting Survivor has done in the modern era. I think she's like number one with a bullet in terms of just like an amazing character to cast and stuff like that. She like of course she has like a great like background in like playing like online games, and like she's like a Survivor super fan and stuff like that, but I feel like she would have been cast even if she didn't have like all of this game knowledge,
Oh, yeah.
because she is just like character first 100%. And like that's what I want to see more of in Survivor, is players like her and less players like Carson. Sorry, Carson, you're a great person, but like I don't want too many super fans that are gonna like 4D chess this game to death. Where like, could you imagine like a whole 20-person cast filled with people like Carson? Like that would be the most boring season of all time, right? But could you imagine how fun it would be to watch a season of 20 Carolyns on an island together? Trying to figure this shit out.
I would totally go on there and lie my ass off and say, "Yeah, I made 3D puzzles and I gained 30 pounds and I could do all this stuff." And then they're watching me just completely fail at everything that I'm doing, Oh, and I just want to say for Carolyn, I've got my sober AF necklace on with the sobriety triangle. I just want to show everyone to celebrate my almost 7 years of sobriety. So I'm right there with you, sissy.
Well, congrats to that.
Thank you.
Sia, well, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, she just did her exit interview with Rob on RHAP, and Sia actually showed up in the call to reward Carolyn $100,000 because she was just so motivated by her story about sobriety and addiction, and like her son being like a major influence in her life to make better choices. And we even saw that in the final tribal, right? Like she said, she said no bad self talk allowed because she doesn't want to have that be like a message that she relays to her son. And I just kind of hate that like Jeff like interrupted her in that moment to be like, and that's why I never belittle anyone's challenge performances. And
because it's about Jeff.
Right. First of all, it's about Jeff. Also, that's like the biggest load of shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Like Jeff's like first like 20 seasons of Survivor are littered with him talking so much shit about like women who do not do well in challenges. So I just love this like revisionist history of Jeff like taking Carolyn's moment and then being like, and that's why I'm such a good person. And like I never get on people about their challenge performances. Like, please, like you should watch yourself, buddy. Not in like not in a threatening way. I mean like watch yourself on TV. Yeah. But God, Jeff was so unhinged like this entire.
He was like this the whole time.
I just could not deal with it, Allison. Like it was so bad. Like Heidi puts herself against Carson in fire making, and he's literally going like, "Ooh, I gotta get me some popcorn."
I go. If I'm sitting at home on the couch right now, I'm popping the popcorn. I was like, "Oh my God!"
I was like, "Please shut the fuck up." And then like 3 minutes later, he was like, "Carson, your fire making was so great. Heidi was just on fire." And I'm like, "Can you stop like producing for just like
are
one
they
damn
feeding
minute?
Him lines? Is there a little earpiece in there, and they're just like sitting in the control? Let's give him the dumbest shit to say.
He is just so lines. Like, I feel like he's just as self-aware of like the TV product as like Carson is, that like that's all that's like being filtered through his head is like, what can I say that'll make like a great moment on TV, rather than just like being like authentic with these very authentic people, right? Yeah, I don't know. But yes, would you say, Allison, this is your favorite of the 4 like modern seasons that we've had of Survivor?
Yeah, this is one of mine. Like I never got bored. I never got bored watching any of the episodes. And I just want in the chat, I just want to say hi to Matt and Weston and Heather Jean and Kyle and Kylan. I'm sorry, Kyle, everyone that's in the chat. I see y'all in there. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. What was the question again?
Do you think this is your favorite
of like
the post 40 seasons?
Yes, like I said, I didn't get bored one time. I enjoyed I looked forward to every episode. Like I normally, some last couple of years, I'm like, bored. Same thing over and over again. But you had Jam Jam, and you had Carolyn, and you had all these interesting people kind of doing things, and it just really, and you never know what the fuck Jeff's gonna say now. So that's become a shot glass, throw back a shot.
That's a shot in the dark.
Yeah, really. And yeah. But like you were saying earlier, I'm really glad that a lot of twists and turns didn't come into play towards the end of the season either. I feel like that well kind of has run dry. It's something I'd like to continue to see on Survivor. You load it up with as many trinkets and baskets and bird cages of all kinds of idols that you want, and then they're in the I think it'd be a good. Hey CBS, I'm giving you another idea for a show while we're at it. How about when the merge happens, you just don't give them anything. If they find an idol, hide 2 idols, maybe 1 or 2. Don't give them any hints. Nothing. If they find it, they find it. If they don't, they don't. Nothing. You win immunity, you win immunity. If you don't get an idol. Nothing. How about you take the person who wins immunity off and you do your diary session with them or one-on-one and go, okay, we're going to leave it up to you. Do we leave? Do you want us to bury an idol or not? And let that person decide after each, competition. That person decides whether or not an idol's left out there. Mix it up, make it fun, do something different. I swear to God, if you use this idea, at least give me some credit.
Fat chance of that happening though.
No, but Big Brother 25 pretty much came out of my ass.
Yes, we'll talk about that at the end because I have thoughts on that too. But yeah, I thought out of like the twists and stuff that they did this season, I didn't totally hate the birdcage thing. Like I would like to see that again. Just because it didn't really, I don't think it really had too much impact this season. I don't think any of the twists really had an impact this season. And that's why the season was great. But I would much prefer something like the birdcage idol rather than like a knowledge is power or like all these like crazy advantages with these like expiration dates and like I need to like pull up the Survivor wiki to like have like a grid full of like advantages while I'm trying to keep things straight on the show. I liked the birdcage twist. I want to see it again for a season to see how other people deal with it. But yeah, I don't know. Like what else? I guess like one thing I typically write down like all of the jurors like questions here. But I feel like post Survivor 40 with like the format change for the final tribal council, like are you feeling the whole like outwit, outlast, outplay sections, or do you kind of miss like the old school like everybody goes up one at a time to like ask a question in front of the fire to people?
I think that it takes way too long for everyone to ask a question. I think
so you like the more like open forum type of thing?
I like the open forum. I don't like the fire making challenge at all. Yeah. I think that's bullshit. I think that needs to go. It's like I said, if you want to really do it up old school and really challenge people, I think after the merge, eliminate everything but the immunity idol that is won and earned. Not that digging in the ground and climbing trees isn't an earned idol. I'm just saying maybe cross the threshold and just say, all right, all bets are off.
Yeah.
This makes that moment matter real. More. Yeah, it makes it matter more. It makes it more real. And, you know, let them, like I said, let them have whatever they want up until the merge. And then after the merge, change it up. Maybe go, hey, no immunity this time. Everybody's up for grabs. Change it up. I mean, because way back in the old school big Survivor that you didn't have immunity challenges. I mean, or you did, but you didn't. It was just very different. Yeah. And nobody knew what was going to happen. And you were really on the edge of your seat. And that was before people were in everybody's ear. And that was before Dum Probst started putting his 2 cents in, influencing people during tribal council. Are you going to take that? Did you hear what they said? What do you think about that? Are you going to stand for that? Shut up, Jeff. Because I even liked it when Jam and then were saying during the final tribal council, you know, I had to tune you out. I had to tune you out, Jeff. I love that. 2 people said that. I loved it. I live for it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And another thought I have is like, am I ready to say I kind of wish we could go back to a final 2 instead of final 3? And here's why.
Yes.
So the past 4 seasons, Allison, I don't know if you know this, but the past 4 seasons have been a 7-1-0 vote. And I feel like at this stage in the game, like people know that like people know the game enough, like they're all like such like super fans that they know to like cement like a goat to bring to the end, like by like mid jury at the latest, right? So like I feel like one of those final 3 spots are always wasted, and I hate to say the word wasted because like Carolyn like wasn't like wasted sitting there or anything like that, but I don't know. I feel like if it was just like a final 2 instead, like I would much prefer that than like consistently having one person sitting at the end with 0 votes. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just want to point out in the chat real quick. Welcome, Samuel S. I like, oh, cute kitty picture. Look at the kitty. I want to see one idol per tribe. Once it's played, it's gone. No new idol is rehidden, so only 4 idols are in play for the whole season. Yes, I agree. Let's mix it up. And let's go back to a final 2. Also, can we please, for the love of God, go back to the live reveal? I am over this pizza party shit. Okay, COVID's gone. It's over. Let's get the. I want to see the people pre-merge. I want to see them get all prettied up and sit on the back row and get asked either one word answer questions or nothing at all. It is great. I live for it because they get flown out and they sit there and nothing happens, because that would be me. I would be on Survivor. I would be out pre-merge, and I would not get my rite of passage to be on TV on finale night. Come on, it's done.
It is awkward that, like, as soon as Jeff reveals the winner, like, and I mean, like, literally as soon as that happens, like, he like turns to his side and like looks at like another camera, so he's like talking like straight to the camera, and you see all this production just like moving shit in the background. Like, it feels very much so like, all right, let's get this done. Like, everybody's trying to like go home. Like, we're all tired. We're done here. But it just feels very like awkward. Like, it feels like a My Weekly Meltdown show when Tim like walks by me in the background. Like, I wanted to say like to production, like, hi Tim, in the background or something like that, because that's how it feels. Like, while like Jeff is trying to give this like crazy dramatic speech, and then like pizza starts flying everywhere. It's I'm not crazy about the reunions not being live, but
what if you don't like pizza? What if you're sober like Carolyn? What does she get to drink? I didn't see any water. I'd be like, can I have some water? Hello? Right. I don't like pizza. What if I don't want pizza, Jeff? What if I don't drink and I don't want pizza?
I am glad that I'm glad that we got a Matt and Franny update, though. That's one thing I was
Are they still together?
They confirmed they are still together. They said the showmance did happen once they got to Ponderosa. So take that for whatever you want to assume.
I'm happy about it. They're so cute. I'm happy about it. But did they have to make such a big deal out of it? Like, is she pregnant right now? Did she get pregnant?
What else are you going to talk about? Like, as good as the season was, there wasn't
bring back the live show.
There wasn't a ton of like big standout moments this season, and I think it's because the Tika 3 just like maneuvered everything so wonderfully. Like, the 2 big things I remember from the reunion were Matt and Franny showmance like confirming, and then Jamie like realizing that the idol was fake that she had. That was it, right?
Yeah, and they could have shown this stuff. Like, here's the thing. This is why you need to bring the live show back, because you can pull up footage and show this stuff to the contestants and show them, oh, did you know this? And you could have shown Matthew getting the real idol and hiding the fake one. That would have been fun to see. But no, we got to do this weird shit where we got to stay there. And look, I love the old school reveal. Why don't we change it up? Do it every once in a while like that. We don't have to do it all the time.
You know what I miss? I see the episode, like the intro sequence, and like watching Survivor Amazon like made me think about that. But like for like when they're like walking to the fire making, like they show like a cinematic like close-up shot of each person, and I'm like, so they have time to do this, but they can't put in like an intro sequence like at the top of the show. No. It drives me nuts, but I do miss that.
I miss it too. It made it fun. It was like, oh, like once that music started playing, I was like, oh, it's go time. It's go time. And it's like, and being part of that universe, and you're on the show, you want to see your name. You want to see it. But you know what? If you think about it in hindsight, there's like 20 players now. That would take it, it takes away so much time. But then again, there's dumb shit that they could trim, like Jeff talking.
Yeah.
We don't need all that.
Well, we are getting 90-minute episodes starting next season, so hopefully, like, we'll have a little bit more breathing room from here on out.
Oh my God!
I know you're
serious?
like, I know. Allison's
Why?
like, I'm tired. It's past my bedtime already.
I don't know how to. I can't even function right now. I don't even know what y'all want me to do, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Just a few like other little notes about Survivor Amazon that I just like want to like randomly bring up here. The the editors had so much fun back then with like creating scenes. Like for instance, like that season was like split men and women tribes. Like it was like gender split or whatever. So they like had like a scene like at like the guys camp, and then they cut to like the women's camp, and it was very much so like about like camp life and like the women like assigning roles for like who does what. But like the start of that scene was like somebody like clinking a pot, and then like somebody like brushing like palm fronds or something, and it was very like Trash in the Camp from Tarzan. Like they started like making like a music like beat out of like all of like the chores that the women were doing. I thought that was so fun and so cool. Also, Rob Sessionino had like a magic 8-ball that was like his like luxury item. You used to bring a luxury item from home.
Yeah, are you not allowed to do that anymore?
No. And I think that's a missed opportunity. I think that's a cool like character moment that I would love to see back. Also, like for a reward, the guys won a little mini fridge full of cans of ice cold Coca-Cola, and I think that's probably the best reward you could ever receive out there on Survivor. Like, think about it. Like, it is so damn hot. You're so damn tired. Like, getting like a nice cold like Coca-Cola and like drinking that like right before going to a challenge is probably such an advantage, and probably just such a like a relief out there on like the hot Fiji sun. So I don't know, bring back the ice cold fridge full of Coke. I think that's a great reward.
I think that Survivor even has to admit at this point it's gotten out of control, and I think they willed it back a lot. Yeah, and I think that what besides the players that made it great this season, they reeled in some of the stuff, which worked. And yeah, you're right. I mean, you go back and watch some of this old school Survivor. It's very, very, Thailand. I know I bring it up all the time. It's my favorite season from the past. But they merged, but it wasn't a merge, and they all thought they merged. Yeah. And Helen or whoever was running around telling all the secrets, and Jeff was telling them at their next challenge, oh, wait a minute, I never said merge. I said you were all going to be on the same beach. Yeah, I didn't say merge. Right. And that chick was the first one to go because, because she ran that mouth. I mean, I think that would, yes, Sheehan. Thank you, Matt, in the chat. Sheehan did that. And I thought it was Helen. I'm thinking of Big Brother. Helen was pushed. But yeah, just little things like that is fun.
Also, they had this like reward where like they had to like pretend that they were like piranhas. They had this like huge like meat thing on like a hanging like stick, and their hands were like tied behind their back, so they had to use their mouths to like bite off pieces of meat and put it on like a scale, and that was the reward, was like whose scale had like more weight of like meat at the end. And I think that is so fun and so cool and different, and like not like a big production either, right? It's literally just like meat hanging on a stick, but it was so like fun and silly, and like especially seeing this like old man who was like arguing about like whether homosexuality was wrong, having to like literally take meat from like another man's mouth by like basically like making out with him for a second. It was funny. It was great. So yeah, like I just I wish production would just like look at some old school Survivor and like take notes on like the casting and just like how loosey goosey everything used to be. Like I feel like it is so polished now that like it feels like watered down. It feels manufactured rather than like real people. I want to see more camp life, and like hopefully that's what we get with these like 90-minute episodes.
We're gonna get something.
Just like we didn't see any scenes really this season, or like any. Like nothing really sticks out to me. I could be wrong, but like even just things like delegating who does what at the camp tells you so much about like who's in charge, who is delegating tasks, what's people's perceptions of other people. Like it can tell you so much, but still focusing around like the survival aspect of it rather than like the chess aspect of it. I don't know.
Hey,
So we did.
What is this
Yeah, go ahead.
question? I was going to say a question that you might know. EJ Cruz, hello, welcome in the chat. Do the cast of Survivor know Bruce, or have they not seen 44 yet?
Yeah, so we did get a trailer for Survivor 45. Looks like a great season. But in that trailer, they showed that Bruce, the man who was medevaced by whacking his head on the thing at the very start of the season,
Is he in it?
he is back this season, so we'll see how he does. But I would assume that they don't know who Bruce is, and even if they did, it's not like they have like a whole season worth of like he wasn't in the game like for more than like 20 minutes.
Like, I forgot
of, like,
who Bruce was.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's not like they can be like, well, this is the type of player Bruce is or anything like that. So it's basically just like a clean slate. Jeff just wanted to give him another chance there.
But what about Matthew? Would it bring Matthew back?
Oh yeah, that's true. I did really like Matthew as a character.
I did too.
I think he was my first pick in the draft, actually. But yeah, I really enjoyed him. I would love to see him play again.
Let's bring that draft up.
Yes. All right. So
it's your favorite thing to do.
Right. All right. So here is the draft. So like I said at the top of the show, Allison, you have picked the winner once again, and you picked the winner, the very first draft pick off the board. How does it feel?
That is crazy. I mean, like last year's win was kind of because it was Gabler, but I mean, this year it's just I'm so excited. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, yes, like Jam would say.
Yes. Let's see. And then so I'm sorry, I'm just like updating our note here of like all of our draft winners. So I have to put you in for Jam. I have to put me in for BB Can 10 or BB Can 11. So that gives, so I have 4 draft wins total, and you have 3. Matt Henning has 2, Beth has 1, Andrew has 1, Adrian has 1, and Rory has 1. So that's where we stand. You and I are the.
Wins do I have?
So you picked, the first time we did it was Survivor 39, and you picked Tommy as the winner. And then for Big Brother 22, I picked Cody. BB Can 9, Beth picked Tyshawn. BB 23, Andrew picked Xavier. Matt Henning picked Erica for Survivor 41. Matt also picked Misha for Celebrity Big Brother 3. Adrian picked Kevin for BB Can 10. Me and Rory, because we had like a patron draft as well for Survivor 42. I picked Marianne. Rory picked Marianne. I picked Taylor for Big Brother 24. You picked Gabler for Survivor 43. I picked Ty for BB Can 11, and you picked Jam for Survivor. So you and I are kind of going back and forth here on wins. So Beth is due for one. I hope she can pick a winner here. And we're gonna have tons of shows to make drafts for coming up, because I don't know, I'm sure you saw the news, but for anybody that's been living under a rock, Big Brother 25 is not coming until August 2nd, which is way later than usual. And I'm sure that it's a result of the writer's strike. Like,
it definitely is.
They just want, Big Brother feels like 3 primetime like air slots a week, and fall ratings are much more important than summer ratings, so makes sense. But that means for the first time, we'll have a Big Brother and Survivor season overlapping, like airing at the same time.
I'm going to correct you. Big Brother OTT may have been online, but it was on at the same time as Survivor.
Well,
I covered them both.
Does BBOTT count?
Yes, it does, and I don't care what your little Twitter poll says.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so we're gonna have to find a way to like recap all these shows at once, because the Challenge USA 2 is also gonna start airing a week after Big Brother airs. So we'll talk about this off air, but I feel like we could just do like a once a week like big like reality TV roundup, like talk about like Big Brother for 45 minutes and Survivor for 45 minutes, and then bitch about the challenge for 5 minutes, like something like that. But yeah, we did make a poll. Because we're looking for something to cover this summer, just casually.
Well, we're doing a rewatch like we did during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to decide, maybe over the summer do a rewatch of another Big Brother season. And I said Big Brother OTT, and Tyler, no, actually you didn't say it. Andrew did, his big mouth. The original All Stars, the first All Stars 7, Big Brother 2000. What was that? 2008? I can't remember. 2000. No, 2006. It was 2006.
It was sorry, I'm looking it up now. 2006.
Okay.
But yes, we could definitely so I think we're probably gonna like recap that one. Maybe just like how we did Big Brother 10 a few years ago. Like we just do like one episode or like one recap a week covering like one round of Big Brother, if that makes any sense. So like 3 episodes in a row.
The first 3 episodes, yeah. And so
I would love to talk about that, because I would love to, even things like what I'm most excited about talking about Big Brother All Stars is like, of course, like Dr. Will and like Danielle Reyes and like Janelle and stuff like that. But like I love that first episode where I think it's not even the first episode. It's like a casting special where they show like basically recapping like all of these people's games, because I don't know if you remember, but it was a fan vote to even get in. I think that production picked like half of the cast. Production picked half of the cast, and then we picked like the other half or something. But like it starts with like bring all of them out in front of the house, and Julie like tells them right then and there whether or not like they've been voted into the house. And I think that's so cool. Like I would love to see something like that again.
For it.
It was neat. But yeah, and also like for the Big Brother 25 like promos that have been airing, like they've been talking a lot about how like this is the 25th season, so they want to like really celebrate like past seasons and like big moments and stuff like that.
Great idea. And what an amazing idea. I wonder where that idea came from.
I would love for, right? Like you did call it, Allison. I want to give
just
you
let me say, go on Twitter, My Weekly Meltdown. I've got the less than 30-second video of me saying, if I were in charge of Big Brother 25, my idea is to kick it old school, old twists, old games. Maybe the first the first elimination, a vote out is like season 1, where we voted out the first person. There were none of that shit. We just voted out who we didn't like that week. And that's freaking Big Brother. There wasn't any, you're safe, get the safety bullshit, none of it. And the first time that somebody got HOH in season 2, it was on a wheel. We spun a wheel. Okay. I want to see the wheel.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Allison. It's like, I would love to, like, before we, I just want to finish this thought real quick, because like it keeps escaping me. I would love to make, like, before we start covering Big Brother All Stars, I would love to do a show like, just kind of like speculating on like things that they could pull from like past challenges, like past moments and stuff like that, just to see like by the end of Big Brother 25, like how many of those we accurately guessed. So I'm just like throwing that out into the universe so we can like manifest that. But Beth is here with us now. How you doing, Beth?
I was doing really well until I saw a message pop up on the dashboard of my rental car that said, you have a message on Messenger. And I was like, Dad, can you swipe up on my phone? I gave him my password. He's like, it says Tyler's coming. And I was like, well, I don't need to know if he's coming. That's gross.
Now, why are you putting that in group chat, Tyler?
And then I looked at the time and it was like 7:56. And I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be podcasting right now. But I was miles away from my house or internet or anything. He had carpal tunnel surgery yesterday and wanted to get out of the house. So I drove him to a store, and I feel really bad that I missed this podcast. I'm so sorry.
You're fine. No,
you were totally Allison picked the winner, and Allison's awesome, and Allison should run all CBS shows.
I
'Cause
mean,
I have all the ideas.
honestly, that's what I was gonna say. And as long as I can be like the assistant producer, because I did have 2 of the final 3.
This is true. Yes, we did. We picked a good one. The 2 of us. Us ladies
Put
pulled
me
through.
in charge of casting. Like that's all I want.
We're gonna make
okay.
you the Jeff Wrangler.
That's fine.
You just shock him every time he says something.
Wait. Okay, hold on. Can I be the new Jeff instead of an assistant producer? Can I be the host?
Yes. So you're the
Sure.
host. I'm casting. Allison's the
Wow.
producer.
I'm still cattle prodding you every time you say something stupid, or putting a shot collar on you with a button that I'm just gonna push. Yeah.
Okay, I have to say, last night I wasn't even high or anything. And when I was watching it, I realized Jeff's facial expressions are absolutely what you would expect the host of a children's show to be. So I really do think that he's like
Jesus.
trying to dumb down Survivor in terms of like tribal councils and like explaining things so that children will watch. And I'm like, guess what? I watched as a children back in 2000.
Children.
He doesn't even realize like the shit he's saying. Like I wrote down so many like what the fuck quotes from Jeff. Like during the like the final 4 like balls going down the thing like tempo challenge. Jeff literally said, "You've got nothing else going on in your life right now." And I'm like, way to call them like losers.
Like he's so abusive in a passive aggressive kind of way.
I was
mean,
like, what the
Jesus.
fuck?
I miss aggressive Jeff when he was actually funny and sassy. Like I love that aggressive Jeff when he'd be like, coach is using all those years of experience in a canoe. Like that to me was hysterical. Like great.
Well, according to Jeff, he was never that sassy or passive aggressive person
bullshit.
because
has Jeff seen the literal 4 compilations from the same person that has like thousands of views, if not hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube? That is just like 10-minute video. There's 40 minutes of him being sassy online of just compilations.
I mean, the way that I jumped out of my chair when he interrupted Carolyn at Final Tribal Council to say, like, Carolyn's like, "I'll never talk bad about myself or my challenge performance." And Jeff interrupts her to say, "And that's why I never belittle anyone's challenge performances." I'm like, get the fuck out of here with
like,
that shit.
First of all, you do. Like, literally.
Right.
All the time.
Like, you want to ask Courtney Yates if you've ever like belittled her challenge? What about Claire just this season?
Yes.
Like, you don't even have to like look back that far. Claire literally sat out just 3 challenges this season, and that was enough for Jeff to like make that her number 1 personality trait.
Oh,
while
again?
she was out here.
Again?
I just like to point out that it's always women that he does that to.
Of course,
he did it to Abby Maria. He did it to Claire. He did it to Courtney. He did it to what's her face? What's that girl from Philippines? Katie. He yelled at all the time. Katie can't seem to get up the hill. Katie dragging down her team constant, like that every single challenge. He even addresses it in the reunion where he's like,
he's such a shit towards women, but he's so concerned about how he addresses everyone. Should I say guys anymore?
Oh, God, I know. That's so
crazy. You respect women before you ask that question.
Have y'all seen his response to that?
No.
He got interviewed before, I think this past season. I think it happened and it was just written. It was like a written up interview. And I can't remember who did it, but he said, I had a friend who's a producer for another show who said, if you wanted to change it, the reason why people are mad is because you made that moment about you instead of making it about like, if you want to change it, just explain that you're changing it. Don't suggest something and then put it on players in a social competition where everything you say and do could be a potential reason to put you up. And like people are coming from various different worlds and such. Like, I just like, he was like, oh, it never registered with me. I was like, and that's why you shouldn't be in charge of twists.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see like an abridged shortened season of something like Survivor or Big Brother, but throw like hosts of reality shows into it. So it's got to be like Julie versus Jeff versus TJ versus RuPaul versus, you know what I mean? Like throw all in. throw in Carson Kressley and Ross Matthews, throw in guest judges, like throw them all in. I think it'd be so funny. I think it'd be so good. And I think we'd quickly see how awful Jeff and Julie would be in that kind of situation.
I feel like that's a good, like, My Weekly Meltdown, like, brand steel patron show in the making. We could have, like, Arissa Cox. We could have, like, Jonathan from Australian Survivor. We can put in, like, Tyra Banks from America's Next Top Model.
Oh, God.
Like, that
she's
would
so
be
popular right now.
Exactly.
She's terrible.
You know what? Yeah. Not for a competition show, but throw Andy Cohen in there for like.
Yes.
Oh, I love Andy Cohen.
Right? It'd be so good.
I love it. Beth, real quick, like, well, not real quick, like we don't have an end time, but I guess, like, what are your overall thoughts on, like, Jam Jam winning?
Here's the,
like, give us your give us the spiel.
It's so funny because this is one of those. I think Jam Jam just absolutely crushed Final Trouble. Like, his answer about not only managing his own emotions for the social strategy of the game, but also being able to understand and manipulate other people's emotions was just chef's kiss. It was so good. And it was such a good, like, we got to see that, but it was good to see him explain it in a way that was just like absolutely like bullseye. Like, I don't think anybody could have overcome that answer. And he just continued to nail it. So I thought he did really well. He deserved the win. I feel like I have a little bit of like towards Danny for making Heidi get second place over Carolyn, because I do think that everybody felt the same way, which was like, if I couldn't vote for Jam Jam, I'd vote for Carolyn. So I feel like in everybody's hearts, Carolyn was number 2, but because Danny voted for Heidi, Heidi got number 2.
I thought kiss my ass. Like, just
Heidi,
kiss my ass.
Don't get me wrong. I love Heidi. Y'all know that. And I think that she played a really great game, but I think she did a horrible job of explaining her game in Tribal. She did not talk about like what her thought process was to get Matt out of the game, because it was going to split up Matt and Franny, and like, but she still had to pretend like she was Soka. She didn't do anything. She had so many, like, she had like 3 episodes in a row where she had like killer episodes. She never brought how she got the idol. She never did any of these stuff. And like, she just totally relied on the fire making. And I'm going to be 1,000% honest. I kind of like that we now have an example of somebody who went to fire making, gave up immunity, and then did not win. She got 1 vote. It wasn't even because of the fire making. So that's a really good trend I hope continues, because I hate this fucking bullshit that's like, I have to do fire and give up my safety in order to go to final trial.
And go against the weakest link in the process.
Correct.
That's what I was saying, Beth, is like the Survivor 40 jury and the Survivor 43 jury in particular said, like, oh, we would have voted for Natalie if she threw herself into fire. We would have voted for Cassidy if she threw herself into fire. Like, you just want to like make this like revisionist history about like justifying why you didn't vote for this person, when like, even if they did, I'm sure you would have still voted exactly the same, because you had your mind made up.
I actually believe 43 feels that way, because they openly grilled Cassidy why she didn't do that in Final Tribal, and like we're full praising Gabler during Final Tribal. So I truly do believe that I do think that there were some sour feelings towards Cassidy, period. And then I do think it was exacerbated by other people who felt like, well, she didn't do what she could have done in order to like really do a final thing on her resume. I'm sorry, your game. Like, the fact that Jam Jam was able to make it all the way to the very end and still win while quote unquote being carried to final 3, that is actually a point of pride that we should be talking about his social gameplay.
For sure. Yeah.
And I know that this wasn't necessarily the point, but I think that, because I do think that this was genuine. I love that Jam Jam helped Carson, because what it did was, if Carson loses to him, he secured that jury vote, period. I know it was a genuine thing. And I don't think Carson was going to not vote for him then, because I think he saw a lot of himself in Jam Jam's gameplay, because they had made a lot of decisions together. I know he loved Carolyn a lot, but Jam Jam was the one who, when he was having problems, came to him and showed him how to do something, even though they were potentially going to go head to head.
Right.
And I really, that at the end of the day was like, I got to reward this guy $1 million if he makes it and I don't. Like,
so I think if he didn't do that, do you think he would have voted for Carolyn instead, because Carolyn played the idol on him?
I don't think so. I think he probably still would have voted for Jam Jam, but I think it would have been more up in the air. And I don't
Sure.
think because Carolyn played the idol on him. I think Carolyn and him just had a really strong relationship, period. But I think that he understood Jam Jam's game because he and Jam Jam were on the same page more often than he was on the same page with Carolyn. And they were making decisions as a duo and oftentimes bringing Carolyn in. And I wish that Carolyn had kind of played up this, like, I think that the reason why I was underestimated was I was even underestimated within my Tika alliance, who I love Carson, I love Jam Jam, but there were times that they weren't sharing information for me. So I had to go out on my own and do this. And I had to fight for myself in a way that they always had each other. And I think that's thing too.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you think that Carolyn was even underestimated during during the final tribal council? I kind of felt like there was an error. I feel like she should have gotten at least one vote. I mean,
I was surprised Franny didn't vote for her.
I was really shocked that she didn't get one. And I thought in that moment, just because I can kind of sympathize a little bit with Carolyn, you know, people don't always take me seriously. And I can, you know, it's like I'm a joke and I'm not taken seriously. And it's like, I'm not going to be beat by someone like Carolyn, or I'm not going to be beat by someone like Allison of all people. I mean, what the fuck? You know, I'm not even going to give them a vote. I don't care how hard they've played. I don't care everything that they've done. I kind of felt like the Dannies. I'm talking about the fucking Dannies who wouldn't even do what?
I think Danny, Brandon, and Kane were never going to vote for Carolyn. But I truly think that Franny, Matt, Carson, like really struggled. And I think that Lauren and Jamie even were struggling with that. I really, really think, like, if you listen to some of these interviews that people are doing, and if you just read even the faces and the nods in the reunion portion of the episode, they were all saying, I wish I could have voted for Carolyn, but I think Jam Jam just played a better game. And you know what? I love Carolyn. She played a kick-ass game. I love her so much, but I'm sorry, Jam Jam killed.
Oh, absolutely. I think he deserved it. He nailed tribal. You're absolutely right. I just kind of felt like
voted for because she was trying really hard to be a good juror. And I that she gave Carolyn her roses in the reunion where she was like, you have changed my life, like, period. And I think that's what I was saying in the beginning. I think it's too bad that Heidi technically gets second place because Danny voted for her, when I think everybody on the jury and the audience at home feels like Carolyn deserves second.
Right. And to me, in my heart, I feel like she is second. I feel like she is second, 100%. I was just disappointed that she didn't get a shout out vote, or I wouldn't even call it a pity vote. I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't feel like Heidi explained herself very well about anything. It was just nauseating. It was like she's trying. I mean, I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, she's got to stop trying so hard. I mean, it was just
the moment that what happened.
Oh, I think I think her internet is like going in and out.
Oh
like
no!
I
think the moment that Heidi interrupted Jam Jam and then wasn't even right about the point that she was bringing up, just absolutely set a horrible tone for her tribal council performance. And that's just like, she had to really dig herself out of a hole. And I don't think that she did a good job with it, unfortunately. Still love Heidi. And here's the thing. Heidi technically gets second place. Carolyn gets $100,000 from Sia. If I'm Carolyn, I'm happier.
Yeah, no, for sure. One thing I wanted to get like your opinion on that I said earlier before you got here was I feel like the Tika 3 being as successful as they were and probably the greatest trio in Survivor history.
I know duos, but we don't think of trios that often.
Right.
The Black Widow Brigade, but that was like 4.
Right. So. And I just think that like them being as successful as they were this season is a very healthy thing for the future of Survivor in terms of like what producers are looking at and bringing into the show. Because this season was really not very like twist heavy, idol heavy in terms of like how it impacted the game. And without all of those shenanigans, we saw like a trio go from a really bad position at the merge in terms of being like a really small like minority that could have been picked off very easily, to just like totally maneuvering the entire merge like flawlessly without like any like big like twists, advantages, anything like that. And we still got some really great gameplay. We got a really entertaining season, and we didn't see all of this like meddling from production or anything like that
in the
like,
merge. And I think that this is exactly what I've been saying for the past few seasons, right? Where I've said, if you're going to throw shit, like throw everything in the kitchen sink, like do that in the pre-merge and then let the game play out. I don't mind that idols were like hidden in the merge because we're used to that format. And I actually really like that in the final, 5, they have to go to a new camp and rebuild. I like that. I think that just adds a whole other level of like, hey, you're expert survivors now. Let's add a little bit more mental and physical stress here at the very end of the game. But it doesn't do anything that's going to like turn the game upside down. I was convinced Lauren found that hidden immunity idol when they cut away and that they were going to do another hidden edit thing. And I'm fine with that. I like when they keep the audience out of the dark and then do something fun like that every once in a while. But yeah.
I just like, I think that it's good that we got an example of like just people playing a great like social and strategic game, and getting to the end very successfully by doing just that. And still providing like a great entertaining season without all this like bullshit, you know? So I hope that production, like I hope that that's their takeaway from this season is that.
And I'm also really excited for 45 because Brandon Donlin's on. I'm very excited.
How would you rank Jam Jam as a winner?
I was thinking about this earlier because I knew this was going to be asked, and I think I'd put him definitely in the top 15, but I don't know if I'd go as far as say top 10. So I was thinking about like 12 or 13 around that area.
I put him as number 13 actually in my winners ranking. So spot on. I have him right behind Sandra with her heroes versus villains win. And I think that's a great place to put him because Sandra was really able to maneuver that post-merge very successfully with like she found like one idol, but like other than that, like she really navigated that shit like really on her own. And kind of the same with Jam Jam, except he had 2 extra people with him, so like more readily available power and like a voting block with him. So I'm more impressed with Sandra doing that like solely on her own compared to like 3 people doing it together. So that's why like I think like that's a good place to put him, is like right below heroes versus villains. Sandra.
I think that Jam Jam is the best winner in Modern Survivor. I think that if you look at him, Marianne,
for sure.
Definitely Gabler, like out of the 4 of them, he's the top. Then I would put Marianne, then Erica, then Gabler. That's the order I would do.
Totally agree.
This was an incredible cast. I like that the twists were bountiful in the beginning and then went away. And we had much more of like kind of like an old school merge. I'm definitely here for that. That's fine. My suggestions for production moving forward would be, please change up some of the puzzles because it can't be an equalizer if you can print them off and know them all ahead of time at home. So you can't call the puzzle an equalizer. Sorry, like just come up with a different puzzle. Sorry. I mean, come on. So those were that's like one of the big things. And I truly think that people like, I think that the weirdest parts of the show right now are just the disconnect of like what tribal council's point is now. It used to be at a place where you really got to the crux of things. If we aren't going to have cultural things related to locations because we're like going to be in Fiji for the foreseeable future, then we've got to find something and stop, for the love of God, trying to make "where good things happen" a catchphrase about the Survivor Sanctuary. Like it's not. It's like Gretchen Wiener saying "fetch." You know, like it's not.
Stop trying to make the sanctuary where good things happen.
Like stop trying to make that happen. I don't care if you call it the Survivor Sanctuary. That's fine. just like where good things happen. Like,
It's weird. It's
and I
creepy.
love that Carson then, like when he gets his confessional, he's like, I went to the, I'm really excited to be at the sanctuary where good things happen. And he did it like that. And I was like, Carson, fucking kiss that. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, he is a kiss ass. In the most loving way possible. He is,
And
for
I
sure.
too that it was heartbreaking to see him lose at 4, but I also was like, listen, we're gonna see him again. And I also feel like I thought it was interesting. People went from saying Carolyn's the biggest threat and then every once in a while potentially throwing Carson out to then all of a sudden at Final Five being like, Carson's the person. And I have to kind of rag on him a little bit. Carson, why are you not bringing Lauren, who you think is the biggest threat to your game, on the reward so that she's not where the idol could potentially be to go find it, and she's not with the 2 other people? Jam Jam and Carolyn will be on the same page if you let the 2 of them go together. You have immunity. So what you're effectively doing is ensuring that Lauren cannot find an idol to protect herself, and no, she can't like get on the same page as Carolyn and Heidi. Like,
yeah.
Period. Like, that was such a dumb move. Like, I love Jam Jam. I'm happy that he was able to get a reward, but my God, Carson, that was like, you in that situation. Here, Lauren, here's a nice meal for your way out of the game. That's what you do.
Your last supper.
Yeah, here's have some cake.
Yeah.
Tell me how it is on Ponderosa. You know what I mean? Like, geez. But altogether, I really liked it. I liked watching with my parents. My parents and I never like the same people. They're, like the Facebook casual kind of people normally. And it was so funny because I was like, Mom, what did you think of the cast this year? And she's like, you know what? At first, I really didn't have any time for Carolyn, but she's like one of my favorite people of all time on the show.
Yeah.
Grew on me every single week. Because I really like Jam Jam. I think he deserved to win. She liked Heidi. She thought she and I both at the same time when Samotion started, we looked at each other and we go, I think Heidi's going to win this. And she was like, absolutely. And I said, what do you think she's going to do? And then she called every single thing. So I was really stoked that my dad was high on drugs after his surgery. So he wasn't really talkative. And this morning he was like, what happened at Final Four? And I was like, and also shout out to Heidi because like, fast new record of building fire, and we saw her. Did I not say this earlier in the season? I said if there's 2 people, well, we've been saying that Carson was going to lose in fire making, we know that. I said if he loses to anybody, I think it'll be Heidi, because they've spent so much time in that first episode showing how quickly she was able to make fire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They foreshadowed a lot. Like even the like the very first shot that we got in the whole season was Carolyn like talking to production in a confessional. And I remember saying on here that like I loved that like behind the curtain thing. They started the finale with the same thing, with Carolyn like talking to production, being like, you remember 26 days ago I was talking about how I'm excited I am to be here, and like now I'm here 26 days later. What? And the producer like sat back, he's like, I do remember that, yeah. And like I just love that like pulling behind the curtain and seeing like who's the real like Wizard of Oz there. I don't know, like more of that stuff is always welcome to me.
But I love this season, love the winner, love the top 6 were 6 amazing people. The top 5 was great. The top 4 was amazing. Like altogether, I think it was great. So
yeah. Any other thoughts before we head on out?
No, I think that's once again. I want to just apologize to you and Allison. I apologize to our
totally fine
viewers and such. But
you're being a good daughter while you're home with your parents helping out. So
trying to. I mean,
never be mad at that.
Beating me, and that's. I guess we'll drive them around.
They did give you life, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in and sticking with us through this whole season. We'll let you guys know what we end up doing to kind of fill our void while we're waiting for a later Big Brother season. I know you and I specifically wanted to do a 8-bit meltdown, just chat about like our favorite video games and like our Zelda journey so far and stuff like that. So that'll be coming down the pipeline at some point as well. And yeah, so everybody have a good rest of your night. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.